Japan is creating the world's first invisible aircraft carrier. Its design includes a special composite that's used to refract light in such a way that it becomes practically invisible to the naked eye. It sounds like some kind of hoax, but I assure you, you'll change your mind once you see what modern technology is capable of. Laser weapons, railguns, unmanned navigation, and even flight. That's what the most advanced aircraft carrier in the world brings to the table. Perhaps we should start with Japan, after all, because what they've created defies explanation. Many years of technological innovation has allowed Japanese engineers to release the world's first invisible aircraft carrier, the name of which has not yet been revealed. But how did they achieve invisibility? There are several methods for implementing this technology. It all comes down to the use of special screens and cameras to create either the false invisibility effect or the light refraction effect. Japan went for the latter for their aircraft carrier. To achieve the desired effect, they had to create a special metamaterial capable of changing the direction and speed of light passing through the aircraft carrier. The result is a light-absorbing shell that surrounds the object and conceals it from the outside. So invisibility has gone from science fiction to reality. This technology will allow the Japanese to get right next to the enemy before it even realizes that it's being targeted by the ship's powerful guns, one of which might be a laser. As for who already possesses laser weapons, it's the USS Ford aircraft carrier, which costs a whopping $13 billion.
There is no one, absolutely no one, who would be prouder of the commissioning of this mighty ship than the President of the United States.
This American supership holds the record in many respects. It's the world's largest, most expensive, and most powerful. With a displacement of 100,000 tons, it has more power than the entire air fleet of at least 50 countries of the world.
Today, it is my great pleasure to announce that the Department of the Navy's newest aircraft carrier, CVN-78, the first in a new class of CVN-21 carriers, will be named USS Gerald R. Ford.
Just look at its size. It makes Japan's carrier look like a toy, because the Gerald Ford is almost twice as big. This giant has a volume of 70 million cubic feet. For comparison, the Roman Colosseum, considered one of the largest buildings ever built, has a volume of just 35 million cubic feet, half the size of this floating fortress. The magnificent Gerald Ford can remain at sea for 25 years without refueling, and is protected by unique weapons with infinite ammunition. Its guns could wipe any country off the face of the earth in 60 seconds. But an even faster response could come from its fleet of 90 of the best fighter jets in the world, including the latest F-35s that don't even need pilots. And of course, let's not forget that the USS Ford is escorted by a fleet of more than a dozen cruisers, destroyers, frigates, and even submarines.
This ship is so different from any other ship that I've ever been on, and that holds true for all of our sailors. You know, no matter how many aircraft carriers you've been on before, you've never been on a Ford-class aircraft carrier.
The enemy might think of using missiles to sink the Gerald Ford, but the U.S. has created a new defense system that can destroy all threats with a single blow. Powerful military lasers are the answer. Hundreds of millions of dollars are being invested in this field every month. It's all to ensure that America's laser weapons can handle anyone they may face. This technology is called the Tactical Ultra-Short Pulse Laser, and it's incredible. Military engineers came up with it back in the 1970s, but the U.S. Air Force has finally successfully transformed it into a revolutionary, highly versatile weapons system that can be integrated into a wide range of military platforms, including aircraft carriers. The Tactical Ultra-Short Pulse Laser is unbelievably powerful. At its peak, it can reach levels up to 1,000,000 times more powerful than the sun. This very same weapon has been installed on the USS Ford and is powered by the ship's 2 nuclear reactors, each weighing over 550 tons. That's like 60 fully loaded trucks. This engine-powered laser gun could easily wipe any enemy off the face of the earth.
There is a high bill up front for this carrier, without a doubt. It's a first of class, but it is designed from the outset to operate more efficiently and to have greater availability due to the reduced maintenance requirements.
Believe it or not, there's someone in the world capable of rivaling America in the construction of incredible ships. The only aircraft carrier in the French Navy is the fleet's true flagship. It's also the first French vessel to be powered by a nuclear reactor, and the second largest among all aircraft carriers. It's called the Charles de Gaulle, and it'll definitely surprise you. This giant ship can accommodate 2,000 crew members, 800 soldiers in armored personnel carriers, and 100 aircraft, including fighters, bombers, reconnaissance planes, and helicopters. Moreover, this is one of the fastest carriers in terms of launching its aircraft, with one takeoff every 30 seconds.
The aim of this kind of carrier is to have a best rate of launch and recovery.
However, the Charles de Gaulle may not only become famous for its huge size and swarm of fighters, but also for its incredibly powerful railgun, which is already undergoing testing. A railgun's an artillery weapon that fires projectiles using electrical energy transmitted through a conventional metal projectile. It's an unusual and experimental type of weapon that was developed in the early 20th century. Railguns operate on the principle of electromagnetic induction. The gun consists of two parallel electrodes, called rails, connected to a powerful direct current. The accelerated conducting mass is located between the rails, closing the electrical circuit and acquiring acceleration due to the ampere force acting on the closed conductor with current in its own magnetic field. The ampere force also acts on the rails, causing them to repel each other. In simpler terms, this gun is capable of piercing through 24 concrete walls with a single shot, instantly turning vehicles into a pile of scrap metal and disintegrating any enemy at a distance of over 300 miles.
All this in a 42,000 tons carrier, autonomous, able to sustain the life of 1,800 sailors.
Aircraft carriers are best suited for using such powerful weapons because they consume a lot of energy, and the Charles de Gaulle's nuclear reactor makes up for this disadvantage. Perhaps France's aircraft carrier will be able to level up to America's Gerald Ford, but the U.S. has yet another mysterious and interesting development. You may have already heard that Japan has created the world's first unmanned aircraft carrier that can control combat drones. Well, America has created its own ship with similar technology. What could be better than a huge aircraft carrier packed with the most advanced technology? Thanks to advanced self-learning artificial intelligence, this new technology can autonomously control all onboard processes. The ship is capable of moving, scouting, attacking, and defending without any human intervention. But don't worry, the robot uprising won't happen because the aircraft carrier can always be turned off with the flip of a switch. Or on the contrary, with a press of a button. The enemy can be hunted down and swarmed by an army of drones that are housed on board. Included in this swarm are kamikaze drones, reconnaissance drones, and even bombers as powerful as the legendary B-2 Spirit. Not even naval targets are safe, as the aircraft carrier can control submarines armed with nuclear weapons.